it's about Orchard, but it's not actually written in Orchard. But I quite like the new website that we've been using with .NET, which is called the Source Browser website. And I got curious the other day about how it was built, so I built one for Orchard. And you can now browse the...
We don't see your screen.
Oh, you don't see my screen? Oh, no. Let's try that again, shall we? How about this time?
We see your screen. It's small. Okay, thank you.
I'll make it a little bigger then.
It's good now for me.
Yeah. So as I was saying,
did you see the issue
with the screen or with the?
No, I mean the actual issue in GitHub about this site for .NET is broken right now. So that's funny because yesterday there's a lot of chat in Microsoft about this site. That's funny. So go on.
All right. I did see that, but I think actually that was because I had a little bit of I had to play around with this morning. I saw something on Twitter yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, this is open source, so let's have a look at it and see if it does anything useful." So for those who don't know, there's a source browser for .NET, which is particularly useful, especially when you're looking up weird text writer implementations, but currently broken, as you say. But this is the same site. It's open source, and it just allows you to browse the Orchard source code. So you can go straight into all the methods. Go back to the start of it. There was some information that it had as well, which I thought was curious. So apparently we have 183 projects, and 200,000 lines of code.
C# code, I assume.
So C# code only. Unfortunately, it doesn't do Razor at the moment. It does look like it does XML, so it might be possible to get some more Razor. So when you start looking at the themes, which is a little disappointing because it would have been really useful if it did both Liquid and Razor files. When you actually look at what you get in the themes, you're just getting, you don't get the Razor views or the Liquid views straight out of the box. And at the moment, the browser is based on the current solution, so it also includes the templates and the test projects and the like. But just thought this might be useful.
So this site source.net, I use it a lot, and so do lots of devs in Microsoft, because you have all the source code in GitHub, but the semantic links between the files and the types and the properties are not as good as this site, the options that GitHub provides. And it's also harder to find the classes because you search by file name and sometimes it doesn't match. Example, this morning I was looking for string.replace. Where in the runtime can you find string.replace? It's not in, it's a good luck. It's not in string.cs, so you have to browse for where the string.cs file is, and then you find another partial class, and then you can find the method. But with this site, just type replace, and you will find all the types that contain the method replace, and then you click on the one that you want. That's much easier. And it also does cross repos relationship, I think. And on the source.net, we have ASP.NET. ASP.NET and the runtime and everything. So NEF core, so that's super useful. And it's fast also because static files, and it's always up to date because it can be part of the build pipeline, so we don't have to wait for GitHub to reindex everything. I'm sure there might be options to exclude folders, files, or to include some of them, or to customize like if you say it's missing Liquid and Razor, maybe it could be added somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I was just having a look through it's open sourced here, but it's also because, of course, it is open source.
I'm sure that's
on its own source browser. Such a cool project. So easy to get running. Took me about half an hour this morning.
Kirill Kjell tries to build tools that help dev. Like he made this thing, and he also made the MS Build binlog viewer to debug your builds. Super useful. Okay,
Yeah,
that's great.
I've had to use that tool. It's awesome. I remember him building that. It's great.
So we should ask him what he's building next.
Exactly, because it's good stuff. So it actually has a source builder for itself. So at the moment, when you're looking at it, it's just so easy. It just makes. I mean, I spend a lot of time on source.net as well because it's just easy to find stuff so much faster than GitHub, and the fact that you can just click through and find where the XAML file is generated.
Another app or site you might show right now is grep.app.
Oh, yeah.
Which is doing cross GitHub searches. So it's indexing all the, this one. It's super fast and super nice. So, boom, and you find Orchard. It's awesome, right?
Yeah, also really cool.
Cross repository.
I haven't used it as much, I must admit.
If you click a file, but you can do regular expression and custom patterns to find. Yeah, and it goes to GitHub, and then you are just relying on the semantic search from GitHub, which is not that great. It's kind of nice because you can see some usage and stuff, but it's not as fast.
It's getting better, but it seems to be a bit slow on its indexing. The GitHub.
And not everything is indexed. It's missing something. Because the source.net thing is built in C#. I assume it's using all the nice C# parsers to extract all the info we need.
Yeah, I mean, it's using the source generator. It's full framework, so I just spin up a VM to compile it. But the site is static, and the search is using ASP.NET, so you certainly need an ASP.NET host to be useful. But most of it's just written in static HTML and TypeScript. So super simple. Yeah, like I said, I was having a look through here, so to actually extend it to include other types of project files without, probably with I would say Liquid, without quite so much symbol.
Should we host that in the same thing at the docs, like source.orchardproject.net, orchardcore.net?
If we can host it on Azure, because we need the .NET at runtime on source.orchardcore.net, super simple. We can push this out as part of the build pipeline, and maybe just a slight rearrangement on the structure to exclude some of the stuff, or maybe not, to be honest.
So we'll see if Antoine is able to help with that. I don't think we need a custom. Yeah, I'm not sure we need a custom. Yeah, it should be the same process as what he's doing with MKDocs, because it's also generating a static site. So
cool. Is that running on the Azure service, or?
Maybe it's Antoine. How does the site generate? No, it's using the read the docs, right?
Yes.
It's using read the docs. So maybe we need a custom GitHub action to be able to do that and host it. Well, I'm sure we could host it on GitHub pages and use the same domain name. Probably.
We could host it anywhere statically. We could host it in blob storage, but without the ASP.NET, because it runs off an ASP.NET website. So without.
So you need an ASP.NET website. You can't use a static website.
The search and semantics aren't as good. How does he explain it?
Bertrand will fix that. I'm sure we can find some high-end side tooling to do.
Yeah, the symbol index is server side, so without ASP.NET.
We need to fix it. It's fixable because because we have the tools to build. So Bertrand made something called Lunar. Is it what's it called, Bertrand?
Lunar Core
Lunar Core, because Lunar.
So it's spelled L-U-N-R-C-O-R-E. It's a direct part of the JavaScript library.
Which is an indexing engine.
No, without the
search. It's a search engine in JavaScript. So you can share the same index file built in .NET and read in JavaScript, for instance. This way, the build step.
Yeah. And you can search client-side or server-side with the same index file.
So and the client just reads the index file into at load time and
yeah, you just send the index file to the client, and then you use the JavaScript Lunar library on the client side to query it.
The build step will be to generate the static file using a GitHub action. Then, as a second step, you build using .NET the index in the GitHub action, where you get a file, and this file is part of the static site, so that when you load the web static file, the web static site, the JS script will also load the static index, which is built by the server once on static generation.
Yep. Sounds pretty reasonable to me.
So that should not be that hard to switch. That might be a solution actually to use completely for source.net instead of, and then it will not require.
So what are you using currently?
No, well, it's using server-side indexes. I don't know what it's using. We need to check. Maybe it's using Lucene or something like that. We need to check the source code. I have another idea. So the issue that might happen, I don't know how big would be the index, because it will have to download the index. But even if it's 1 megabyte, that's kind of quick on our machines now.
It's cacheable.
The other option, have you seen this article where a dev made a custom reader, a custom SQLite files reader in JavaScript that was actually streaming the pages of the SQLite file as it was requesting it, because it's a bit tree. It's able to use a custom web server feature, which is called, I can't remember the name. So you can just say, give me this part of the file, and it will just download the part of the SQLite index that is required to do the search on the fly. It was amazing. So
that's pretty cool.
So I need to find the article again. And that's the only concern that we could have, like, how much will the index be with some source code? I'm sure it's not that big, because even Lucene index is super small. So for this kind of source code, it should not be big. We should try to build.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm not sure what the symbol index is, but the HTML it's spitting out is kind of all over the place. So I have to have a look. But
so interestingly, I did exactly that on my old JavaScript CMS that I built a few years ago, and I used Lunar as the search engine, the JavaScript version, and I'm doing exactly that. I'm downloading the index file to the client and querying it from the client, and it's a lot smaller, of course, but the size of the file didn't matter at all. It's all very fast. And yeah, so I would try it.
Interesting.
Makes sense to have a look. It can't be for Orchard. It can't be massive. I mean, I could see for ASP.NET, because they're bringing in so many repos, that it could be a bit bigger. But for Orchard, what was the
300,000 files should be quick. Should be slow. Small, sorry. Should be small.
Yeah.
Quick and small.
200,000 lines of code.
200, yeah. And
symbols are
mostly spaces. Yeah, you see 20,000 symbols. So, like, I mean, probably the indexing will reuse the same token like so many times that the file will be 100K max, and that should be because, yeah. Okay, that's great. We should look into that. And that will be easier than just have a major website around hitting the planet just to do some searching.